South Bunbury 10 goals 6. They defeated Donnybrook 8 goals 5. To which we'll see the Lions kick with the aid of the breeze. There goes the bounce down in the centre, and this is a very important quarter of football, and it's immediately kicked out of the centre for Mines by Peter Rowe, but it's going to be a free kick to go the way of Dom Crognali. Abco Hardware scoreboard at half-time reads Harvey Brunswick Lesnold 8 goals 3, and they lead Mines Rovers 5-9, and they go into attack up to the Mary Street end of the ground. With the breeze do the Lions. The Miners are going to have to work hard in this quarter. Down it comes to Mundy. He kicks it back into the centre. It's immediately taken by Crognali. Crognali kicks it out to Davison. Davison on the scoreboard side of the ground gets away from his opponent, centres the ball to the edge of the square, thumped away in defence by Mines Rovers as they work the ball away through Troy Fair out towards the scoreboard side of the ground, and it's gone out of bounds in the right full forward pocket position, Mary Street end of the ground, and that is the end to which the Lions are kicking to. 18 points is the margin in favour of the Lions. There goes the ball back into play. Good tackling there in defence by Mines. It comes down to ground and is taken away for them by Michael Barrett. Again to that scoreboard side of the ground. It's stumped back in towards full forward by the Lions. Who kicked that one? It's a beauty. Graham Jeffries. Goal of the day. Goal of the day so far by the Sterling Hayward medalist in Graham Jeffries. The first one of the third quarter for the Peter Monticles. Goal of the day. $25 voucher brings up a major on the Abco Hardware scoreboard to make it number 9. 9 goals 3 the Lions, and they lead Mines Rovers 5 goals 9. That was a gem, Peter Elson.
Well, I tell you what, they were finessing with the ball in the right full forward pocket under the scoreboard there. Graham Jeffries thought, I've got to do something about it. He ran down, didn't he, Peter Betty? But beat the ball, and it was a beautiful off break, wasn't it? And straight through the goal from 50 metres out.
I think Jeffries is playing as a ruck row, but I think Hutchison's playing into the centre.
OK, we see Crognali kick the ball forward for the Miners, but it's cut off by Gary King. He is a speedster for the Miner, gets beat the ball, kicks it to the outer side of the ground there. Running in pursuit is Shane Sherwood. He plays well. He fends the hand pass across to Damien Port. Away goes Port with leg heavily bandaged. Up the half forward go the Miners. In back pursuit there is Graham Jones. He started with a ball to dash in this term. It's into the middle of the ground there, but it's cut off beautifully over there by the Miners through the agency of Ashley Cook. He goes for the hand pass to Port. Port finesses onto the left boot. Up to the centre half forward position it goes. Out comes the defence, but it's at the back of the pack. Paul Moises onto the right boot. He shoots on goal. Bang! Right through the middle. It's a reply, and a very important reply by the Miners. They were messing around with it at centre half forward. Paul Moises accepted the hand pass, and he finished it off. And whenever Paul Moises gets within cooey of the ball, John Dillon, you can pretty well write his name down. So that means that Harvey Brunswick 9 goals 3 lead the Miners 6 goals 9.
A very quick answer by Paul Moises, and this is our presentation of the grand final coming to you on Radio West Football. Well, we're playing for it now, listeners. We're playing for a premiership here between Harvey Brunswick, Lesnold and Mines Rovers. There goes the bounce down in the centre. It is the Lions that get that ball forward through Austin over to Davison. Davison to Waterman. He shoots on goal. Mary Street end. They're coming thick and fast now. Straight through the middle it goes. And that's the 10th on the board for the Lions. Abco Hardware scoreboard, as the scoreboard starts to tick over here at hands, we see that it is Harvey Brunswick, Lesnold moving along to 10 goals 3, and they lead Mines Rovers 6 goals 9, and the goals are coming thick and fast now, Peter Betty.
Yes, again, Graham Jeffries getting the ball out. A couple of quick handballs and a good goal to Waterman.
Well, OK, we have witnessed 3 goals in about 4 minutes of play here in the grand final of 1991, and by gee, they're ticking over, Doc, as you've just arrived back, and you've missed a bit of action here because there's 3 goals in 4 minutes of play. Well, here's the bounce down now. Umpire Netherland, beautiful bounce. Up they go. It's won by Jones, but by gee, it's shark beautifully by Ashley Cook. Hits the deck. Out comes Crognali. Onto the left boot he goes. Up the half forward. Out to take it is Faulkner. Can't get hands to ball. Fends the hand pass across to Hutchinson. He can't get away clear, but it's picked up once again over there by Faulkner. Gets beat the ball, and Graham Jeffries pulls it down at the centre half forward position. He's a good footballer, Graham Jeffries. Dual Hayward medalist now, and he's certainly showing his mark. And I know, Pete, you've coached him on 2 distant sides, and you've had the utmost respect for this player. Away goes the little Rover. Onto the right boot. High, long and handsome. They set in front. It's tapped forward, but Strano gets beat the ball, and as he put it through for the the major? No, it's through for the minor score only, off the hand, and that has gone through for the minor score. So we see Harvey Brunswick move up to 10 goals 4, leading Mines Rovers 6 goals 9 at the 5-minute mark of the Premiership quarter, the third quarter.
Yes, and we wait now for the ball to come back into play. It's going to go the way of Mines Rovers. They'll take the free kick from the half-back flank position. And we saw at the start of the game a 4 or 5 goal breeze here when Mark Skean did win the toss for the Lions, and they kicked with it, and they've held the lead throughout the game so far. Mines kicking into the breeze in this third quarter. There's a nice mark, and it goes the way of Hutchison for the Lions on the right centre wing. They're going to use this breeze now as they kick it long up to centre half forward. The big pack gets into the air. No mark. It's thumped down to the ground. Through goes Jeffries, working hard in this quarter now as it goes out into the open spaces. A shot on goal by Ieto. It'll be marked in defence by the Miners. Out towards King it goes on the half-back flank. He's jostling for possession. Over the ball is Macri. In comes Tartaglia. Tartaglia to Strano. Tony Strano wheels onto the right boot. Has a snap over the right shoulder by G. That one looked away over the left post, but it's gone through for a major. A snap on goal, and that one has gone the way of Tony Strano. And a comment on that snap by, don't want to put you under the hammer, Peter, but it went through for a goal according to the goal umpire and brings them up to 11 goals 4, and a quick start to the third quarter by the Lions, Peter Betty.
Yeah, they've kicked 2 or 3. I see Fontana still off the ground. He got taken off about 10 minutes before half time. He's still not back on the ground, so I can't understand that. When he was the best man on the ground at that time, obviously he must have an injury, but Mines have to be very hard in the next 10 minutes, otherwise Harvey just going to get away with him.
Well, by gee, that's a good observation. I didn't notice he was off the ground, Pete, but then I miss a lot of things, don't I, John Dillon? But it's an interesting time here in the 1991 grand final. Hutchison out of the middle of the ground there for the Lions, right to the outer side of the ground. Running at the drop of the ball there is Johnny Nishke. He's been a good defender today. He's running away from Faulkner. That's a good sign that Mick Murray would love to see, but it's chopped off over there by Austin Ieto. They're showing a bit more purpose now, the Lions. He will go inboard onto the left boot, shoots it into centre half forward. Waterman sets. At the back of the pack is Winnerton. Waterman gets to the drop of the ball, but it's Tony Strano again, running away from the pack. He lines up on goal. What's the decision? There's a free kick somewhere in this one, isn't it? No, over the line and out of bounds in the left full forward pocket. Strano couldn't get beat the ball, and we'll see a throw in the left full forward pocket here. We are at the 8-minute mark of the third term, and we see that the Harvey Brunswick 11-4 leading the Miners 6 goals 9. There's the throw in now. Bernie Sloan can't get beat the ball. Norkin Strano at the back of the pack. There is Bradley Barrett. What a game he's played in the grand final. He'll remember this game for many years to come, but he will not be awarded the free kick. There'll be a bounce down, and umpire Hills moves in to bounce it 15 metres out, pretty well in front of the goal in the Harvey Brunswick goal. He goes for the throw up. Good decision. Out of the pack comes Sloan. Beat the ball. Graham Jeffries in the pack, in front of the pack there. Out comes Tartaglia, and I tell you what, the free kick will go the way of Shane Weinman, is it, for the Miners? He must have been pushed in the back over there, Shane Weinman, a Dow defender. He's had a great finals round series. There he's kicked to the outer side of the ground. He's looking over there for the running player in Niski, who hasn't put a foot wrong today. He fends off his immediate marksman. Up to the wing position he goes. Down comes Damien Port. He's playing under a great injury cloud. He recovers beautifully. In there goes McKinnon. He can't get beat the ball. The hand pass across to Barrett. Back to Damien Port. This is good play by the Miners. Port gets beat the ball. It's shot up to the half-back flank position, but over there taking a diving mark is Sullivan. It's not allowed, however. Back it comes to Wellington. On to the right boot he goes. Down to half forward go the Lions, but it's chopped off by Weinman in the last line of defence. By gee, they're back on a playing ball for the Weinman. There goes the chip pass into the middle of the ground. Sharked over there by Jeffries. It hits the deck. Picked up out of the pack there by Faulkner. He'd be one of the better players for the Lions. Down the full forward they go. In there is Sloan. Tony Strano's there. Hand passes across into the opening arms there of Austin Ieto. He drives it up the full forward. Gets beat the ball. Shoots on goal, but it's out on the full. Right under the scoreboard. That reads at the 9-minute mark of the third term, the Premiership quarter, Harvey Brunswick 11 goals 4, Mines Rovers 6 goals 9, and Dr. Bonnier, there's a bit more bite in this game in this term.
Yes, there's plenty of action. There's a goal umpire wants a bit of eyesight correction, but otherwise the game's done all right.
I was going to get your comment on that last goal, but obviously we went to the call a lot sooner. We're pretty high up here, and yes, I agree with you.
Yes, well, he's come straight out with it, the Doc, and that's the way it goes. You can't cut corners. He's answered the question. There goes the ball on the far side of the ground, and it's Mines that have the ball locked over on that regional hospital side of the ground once again as we wait for the ball to be thrown back into play. Well, the Lions will have to use this breeze. We saw a very competitive first half of a very good, skillful, tough, hard football that Peter Betty did talk about in his half-time summary in a grand final. But Tony Strano, who was quiet in the first half, seems to have lifted his rating now too, as it comes down to Crognali. Crognali with a 50-5, 55, 60-metre kick up towards Russell Waterman. He shoots on goals as they bombard the goals now, the Lions, but that one's gone over the line and it's out of bounds. Well, it's 70 points to the Lions, 45 points to Mines Rovers on the APCO Hardware scoreboard, and we've been playing 10 minutes in the third quarter of the grand final, and some players thought it had gone out of bounds on the full, but it'll be thrown back into play. As there goes the throw back into play now. They big fellows set. It comes over the back of the pack. A chance for Mines Rovers. Scoreboard side of the ground. The game's being bottled up over there. It comes away now. There's a whistle gone once again, and as you can appreciate, with a strong southerly breeze blowing, that we have seen plenty of boundary throw-ins take place over on that scoreboard side of the ground. Waiting now as the clock ticks over towards the 11-minute mark of the third quarter of the grand final. There goes the ball thrown back into play, taken by Barrett. The hand pass goes out searching for a teammate, but it's out of bounds. Well, Peter Betty we were talking to him just before we come on air, and if the Lions get somewhere near a 6-goal lead at this going into this third quarter, they'll be very, very hard to peg back in this last quarter. So Mines must score something into the breeze and contain these little runners like Crognali, who's just been grabbed without possession. Betty shakes his head. That's a mortal sin, because now Crognali will shoot on goal from about 45 metres out with the aid of a good strong southwesterly breeze favouring him at the moment as he's inside the 50-metre line. He'd be 40 to 45 metres out, directly in front, usually gets good distance with his kick, and he's got the chance to bring up their 12th goal and make the job even harder for the Miners. But we'll wait on the accuracy and the distance, of course, as Crognali moves in from inside the 50-metre line. There goes the drop punt. It won't make the accuracy that time, and it's gone through for a point. So on the APCO Hardware scoreboard, it is the Lions that lead. They are 11 goals 5, and Mines Rovers are 6 goals 9.
Peter Betty, we're getting to what I call the danger part of any football match, the 15-minute mark of the third term. Harvey Brunswick lead by 35 points. I think now the accelerator's got to go down by the Miners.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of problem here for Mines. All their forward players are coming up the ground, so obviously Mines are not going to score a goal, and it's just a matter of time and just how many goals Harvey going to kick. And I can't see. All I could say for Mines are just got to get back to the positions they're supposed to be playing and just run the ball, kick the ball long to their forwards. But at the moment, it's just going to be how many goals are Harvey going to kick if they continue to play the way they are.
And we see Crognali shoot deliberately on goal. He's lifted his rating, Dr. Munir, in this third term. I'd say he's had a fair sort of a serve at half time.
Yeah, well, I think that Peter Betty made a comment about he and Strano, and they must have played it back them in the dressing room, because they both improved out of sight this quarter.
OK, well, we see the kick in now to be taken there by Shane Meinman. There's the kick to the outer side of the ground. Up they go. Rowe can't take possession. In there at the back of the pack there, however, is Rob Davison, but it's clear to the fence. They come, the Miners. It's picked up over there now by Paul Barrett. Up to the wet. He's run down. Up the back of the pack is Jeffries. Into Crognali. Across it comes now to Paddy Papalier, is it? Into far forward they go, and up over the top of the pack, taking a very good mark. He's big Bernie Sloan, and he's right on the 50-metre mark. He's at centre half forward directly in front, as we now see what big Bernie Sloan can do with this one. He's had a pretty quiet day today, Bernie Sloan. He will have a deliberate shot at goal. A lot of left footers on this ground today. It's long, high and handsome. What's the result? Let's see what the goal umpire does about that one. Up goes the left finger, which means it's only a minor score. So they move on to 73 points, leading the Miners 45. And I do believe they want goals, because this last quarter could be a beauty. A 5-goal breeze, I think, out there, Peter Betty. But there's the kick in by Weinman once again. He's had a good final round series. Outer side of the ground. Waterman goes up, can't take the ball. Comes to the back of the pack. We're over, waiting for the outcome is Paul Barrett. He runs on. There's no doubt of fitness of these sides. Up to the wing it comes. It's chopped off by Wellington. In there is Crognali. Onto the right boot. Into centre half forward it goes, where it's picked up by Jeffries. Onto the left boot. Down the full forward. The pack sets up Bernie Sloan. He pulls it down right. That one down, John Dillon, for the Pastor Ravino. Charlie Jack was Pastor Ravino mark of the day. A good mark to Bernie Sloan. The reason for that is he read the play so very, very well. And as the doctor said, they're pretty loose in the middle of the ground, the Miners. But we'll go with the call of the game, Doc, and we'll come back to your thoughts about this as it's lined up by big Bernie Sloan. Well, Harvey Brunswick have kicked how many? 3 in this term. They're at the 15-minute mark. Bernie Sloan lines up. What's the result? Through for the minor score. By gee, I tell you what, Peter Betty, they could rue those losses.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing what's happening here. Hutchinson's gone on to Peter Rowe, which was a great play just before half-time. Peter Rowe's running wide to the flanks all the time. Hutchinson's just running with him. Peter Rose just got a kick now. That's his first kick for the quarter, and I believe it just leaves that big gap in the centre. There's no one there but Harvey Brunswick.
OK, Dr. Manier, you were going to make a comment.
Yes, the miners, you're trying to bring the ball up to Frank and run around 2 or 3 players. You can't do that. You shouldn't even try to do it in ordinary games. Certainly shouldn't do it in finals.
Abco Harvey a scoreboard, a 15-minute mark of the third quarter, and the breeze certainly hasn't died down. It is the Lions that are 11-8, and Mines have the job in front of them now. They are 6 goals 9, and it is the big fellows now that are starting to pluck the big marks out of the air. And here goes Jones. He puts the Lions into attack towards that half-forward line. It comes down to ground. It's taken by the runners. Here comes King for Mines Rovers, hotly pressed by his opponent. It spills out towards Tartaglia. He gets the run of the ball, thumps it out in the open spaces, over to the champ Jeffries. Nice pass. He gets it to Wellington. Papalia it was. Back to Tartaglia. The Lions are running now. It's a big kick go. Tartaglia up towards the edge of the square. Left full forward pocket, I should say, where Bernie Sloan sits there, but the ball went out of bounds on the full. So it'll be a free kick back into play. Mines with a couple of goals into the breeze. We see them in with a chance as we see a player leaving the arena here now, coming through the interchange bench.
Ashley Cook.
And he's being replaced by Fontana, who played a very good first half.
Well, I tell you what's happened up the other end of the ground. Austin Ieto has taken a very good market pretty well at the centre half forward position. As Big Fontana comes onto the ground, he must have been injured, Peter, because as you said, he was probably one of the better players on the ground. He's come on now, the 16-minute mark of the third term. There's the line up by Austin Ieto. He has a deliberate shot at goal. What's the verdict? Through for the minor score only. So that makes it exactly, John Dillon, that makes it exactly a 50-point margin to Harvey Brunswick. 11 goals 9, leading the Miners 6 goals 9.
And if you cast your memory back, Peter Elson, that's about the margin that the Lions won the grand final by last year against Collie, somewhere in the 5-goal vicinity. It's a fairly stiff breeze here, as we've been telling you, and it is the Lions that are using it now. We've gone past the halfway mark of the third quarter, and the players are lifting all around the ground. Mines know they have the job in front of them. Here goes Barrett. He gets it up to Dabrowski. Again, they use that dead side of the wing. It goes to Papalia. He thumps the ball out into the open spaces to Davison. He's caught, but by G. Jeffries, a workman machine. He puts himself where he has to be, reads the play well, picks off Bernie Sloan. He's come out of the 50-metre line and has taken the mark. He's just on the 50-metre line. Right half forward flank for the Lions. The big left foot drop punt makes its way up towards full forward. They set. It comes off the hands of the pack, and it's another point.
I'd just like to make the observation, sorry, John and Peter, Betty and Doctor, that now, I believe now, the job is in front of the Miners now. I think it's a 4 to 5 goal breeze. That's what the splits have been in the respective quarters, and I think now, Peter, I really do believe that the Miners, whatever's kicked against them now, they're going to really have to make up in the last term.
That's right. Anything from now on, Peter's a bonus for Harvey Brunswick, and it's going to make it twice as hard for Mines.
The ball is at the moment still in the right half forward flank with Davison. He gets around his opponent. He goes for the big bomb. It's a drop punt. It sails goalwards. Let's wait for the result of that one. It's a mighty shot by Rob Davison. That's a beauty. Talk about the goal of the day with the Peter Monocle's Brunswick Liquor and Foodland. That'll be the best one so far from the right half forward flank by Rob Davison, and that brings up the score to 12 goals 10 Harvey Brunswick Leschnold, and they lead Mines Rovers 6 goals 9 on Radio West Football.
We hope you're enjoying today's broadcast match of the day.
With Harvey Brunswick in control, but out of the pack comes that speedster in Gary King. By gee, he's a very quick and elusive footballer and been awarded the free kick for a trip. Well, let's see what he can do with him. Him and Macri having an interesting tussle. It's King that shoots it across to Shane Sherwood. Away goes Sherwood up the half forward for the Miners. Paul Moises. And Peter Betty, you did make the observation just a while ago that he's been standing there getting cold at full forward. He's out on the half forward flank position now. He drives it up the full forward. Out comes McKinnon. Dabrowski's at the back of the pack. The whistle's blown, however, and the free kick will go the way of Damien Port, number 5 for the Miners, on the right half forward flank position. Well, a little bit loose defence there by Robbie McKinnon. He attacked the ball too vigorously and pushed Damien Port right in the back. Well, there we see Damien Port. He's right in front of the South Bunbury member stand. He will line up, deliberate shot at goal, 50 metres, a great kick. Up the full forward it goes, but it's tapped back where Stephen Dabrowski tries to gain possession. In there at the drop of the ball is Paul Barrett. Coming out is Dabrowski. Good, tough, robust footballer. Onto the right boot. 50 metres out. Shoots on goal. Up they go, but Graham Jones taps it down. In there is Michael Barrett, and he will be awarded the free kick. Oh, gee, the crowd didn't like that one, but it doesn't make any difference what we say about it, Peter Betty, because the free kick will be taken by Michael Barrett, and knowing Michael Barrett, there's a big grin on his face. He shoots it inboard, and the mark has been taken over there by Stephen Gray. No comeback, says umpire Hiltz. Well, I don't think umpire would have gained the applause of the Harvey Brunswick side on that occasion. It doesn't matter. And Michael Barrett, with a grin on his face as big as the collie cut over there, will have a deliberate shot on goal, some 25 metres out. But I tell you what, he's on a very sharp angle. But I've seen him put him through before. He's a natural left footer. He lines up on goal. Write that down in your book. Thank you very much. It's through for the major score. A great goal there for the Miners. That's a very important one. As we now check the Epco Hardware scoreboard. That reads Harvey Brunswick 12 goals 10, Mines Rovers 7 goals 9, and Peter Betty a very important goal for the Miners.
Great goal on his right foot, and it was a beautiful goal, 35-40 yards out. And a bit of ticky touch by the umpire, but still that's the way footy goes, and that's a good goal for Mines. If they can get the next one, well, they come home again, as I said, in the last quarter with the breeze.
We've got our special guest with us today, Dr. Ernie Minear and Peter Betty, giving comments in the grand final. And we've just ticked over the 21-minute mark of the third quarter, and a very valuable goal for Mines. There goes the bounce down. Fontana working hard. It's taken away from him now by Robert Iodo as he swings, Austin Iodo. He swings it up on towards the Tony Strano direction. He marks on the right half forward flank, wheels around onto the right boot, sends it up towards the Tartaglia direction. He can't break clear. That defence for Mines is working very hard indeed. The hand pass goes out. It's taken by Niski. Over it goes now as the hand pass goes further down the field for Mines to Paul Barrett. He goes towards the wing position. Whistle's gone. Free kick to Mines Rovers. Abco Hardware scoreboard in the grand final. Harvey Brunswick Lesnol 12 goals 10. Mines Rovers 7 goals 9. And we wait for Mines. They're in defence. We've seen a lot of play on the regional hospital side of the ground today. This player is at left half-back flank position. There goes the drop punt. It'll swing high in the air. Fontana's there. Also is Hutchison. He breaks away for the Lions. In towards the centre of the ground it goes. At the back is Davison. Davison for the Lions out to Crognali. Lobs it nice for Crogsy. He puts it out in front of him. Hotly pressed by his opposite number. Good play, Mines Rovers, by Shane Sherwood. Robs him of it. Under pressure. Kicks it out of bounds on the full. It'll be a free kick to go the way of Dom Crognali. Good defence that time by Mines, but this will give Crognali the opportunity from the left half forward flank, Mary Street end of the ground, to drive the Lions further in towards that full forward position. He gets onto this kick. It's a nice kick. It's a very high in the air. Good mark taken in defence there by Mines, and they'll hold up the attack good by Troy Fair. Out it goes towards the half back flank. It's a very dangerous period of play now for Mines Rovers as they lead in the race with the ball through Paul Barrett, and again it's that boundary line. And Dr. Minear, are the Miners doing enough to stay in this grand final?
Well, they've got to keep the ball low and take it around and avoid the big man for Harvey. They keep kicking it in the air and it just comes back again.
Okay, well, this is a very interesting grand final because it's not over yet, because we've got a 4 to 5 goal breeze here, and we see that the Harvey Brunswick lead this game by 31 points. This game's got a long way to go. Believe you me, we're at the 24-minute mark of the third term, 12-10 to 7-9. Over the line and out of bounds, right under the scoreboard, the Abco Hardware scoreboard. There'll be a throw-in. Running up onto the ball is Fontana. In there is Big Bernie Sloan. He's lifted his rating. It's tapped forward over there by Troy Fair. That's good play. Picked up over there, and the move's on Peter Betty. Paul Moises is on the ball. Up the half forward. He up to the weak position. He goes out to meet the ball. Is Wellington. It comes down to the pack there. It's picked up by McKinnon. Back to Wellington. Onto the right boot. He goes down the centre half forward. Out comes Robbie Davidson. Oh, boy! Davison and Jeffries have met head on. And Davison is still down. Jeffries has the ball. Well, gee whiz. That was a terrible blue by both those players. We'll pick up play out of the back of the fence. That'll rattle a few of the Harvey Brunswick players, I think. Jeffries and Davison meeting head on, but there's a kick to the outer side of the ground. Hutchison back to Graham Jones. Onto the left boot. Jones drives it into full forward, and he's kicked a goal from 60 metres out. A great goal to Graham Jones. Well, goodness gracious me. Graham Jones, there was a lot of finessing around Jeffries and Davison, who had met head on. Players were looking around. The play continued, and Graham Jones picked that ball up, didn't he, Johnny Dillon? time from 65 metres out and threw it onto the left boot, and he's put the major through. And I tell you what, John, you've got to decide what's going to be the Brunswick Liquor score goal of the day, but by gee whiz, that'll take a bit of beating. And the big ruckman has come alive in this game, and Peter Betty, that's the 13th goal on the board for the Lions.
Yeah, I see Niski at centre-half back for Mines, limping pretty badly too, so that'd be a bit of a blow.
This is our presentation of the grand final with Dr. Munir, Peter Betty, Peter Elson and John Dillon on Radio West Football. Back here now, there goes the bounce down in the centre of the ground. That was a mighty goal by Graham Jones. Put him in the running for the Peter Monagle goal of the day. Dabrowski puts Mines into attack. They've got to go now. They've got to score goals as it goes up towards their scoring area. Mooney's on the bottom of the pack, and the ball's hand passed over the line and out of bounds there by Russell Waterman. And the decision, has it been declared deliberate? I think it has. And it'll be a free kick to go the way of Khan. Abco Hardware scoreboard. A big job for Mines now. 13-10 the Lions, 7-9 to Mines. Here goes Khan from the right half forward flank. It's a mighty booming kick. The big fellows set themselves down there. It comes to ground. Sullivan's in amongst it, and it's forced through for a point. Well, that's a point to Mines. They'll come home with a very strong breeze, but they'll have to go very hard indeed, because we've just seen Jones and Davison score mighty goals. Jeffries lifting his game in this quarter. Tony Strano, nice mark to Hutchison. Crognali's lifted very well indeed too, and the Lions are playing very good football at the moment as it goes over the back of the pack to Macri. He's got the run of the ball now, reads it well, picks it up, and from the centre puts them into attack up towards left half forward, and Faulkner's been a very effective player. Gets it over to Waterman, over to Faulkner. They're attacking strong now, up to full forward. Jones is there once again. We just saw him score a boomer a while ago, and they've scored a point, so they move along to 13 goals 11, and Mines is 7-9. Let's wait for the ball to be kicked back into play by Mines Rovers. Loose out here on the half-back flank is the Mines Rovers, Michael Barrett. He's taken the mark, and they're going to have a very big job to do in this last quarter that's coming up very shortly. Over to Fontana. Good mark by the big fellow. He made his presence felt very strong in the first half and took the game right up to big Graham Jones. And we see him now from the right half-back flank position, kicking into the breeze, a bit undecided. Bernie Sloane's on the mark. We've gone 26 and a half minutes now, 27 minutes gone in the third quarter of the grand final. To the wing goes the ball. Look at that mark by Sullivan. These class players in Jones, Sullivan, Hutchison, Jeffries are starting to show their stamp on this game now. It's a nice big kick by Sullivan. Up towards the half-forward line it goes. It's thumped down to the ground. The opportunity now for Mines as the hand pass now goes the way of the player there in Sanford. He gets it over to Bradley Barrett, and again they're under pressure. Leading in the race for the ball over there is Paul Barrett. He's got possession. It's at the 50-metre line for the Miners, and it's Barrett that takes the ball for the Miners. They look tired as they work that ball out of defence into a pretty stiff breeze.
I tell you something, this game is going to be a lot closer than what we think. I just tend to think that Crognali's lifted, Peter, hasn't he? And I think that's added a bit of bite, and Bernie Sloane in the forward line as Sloane takes the top, but it's Fontana that wins the top. Over it goes in the waiting arms of Bradley Barrett. At the drop of the ball is Jeffries. Oh, gee, he's a little champ, and he read that beautifully. Onto the right boot, down to the half-forward flank position, but there is Darren Mundy like the Rock of Gibraltar. He's played very, very well for the Miners today. Onto the right boot, outer side of the ground there. I think that's just exactly where they want it, the Lions. It's over to Maieto, over to Waterman, into full forward they go. At the back of the pack is Monday and big Graham Jones. The big fellow onto the left boot. He can't get boot the ball. He's bundled through the points. There's a bundle of players there. Gee, they came from everywhere. The big Graham Jones, he was bundled out of it, and there'll be a bounce down right on the line here. The 5-metre line. Umpire Nettleton runs in. He'll bounce it down. Good umpiring by the umpire. There's the tap away and through for the Minor score. Well, Harvey Brunswick move up to 13 goals 12, which is 90 points, leading Mines Rovers 7 goals 9, 51 points at the 28.5-minute mark of the Premiership quarter. There's Weinman kick out. He'll kick it out into the waiting arms here of Troy Fair. He can't get to it. Picked up by little Macri. He swoops on the ball onto the right boot. He shoots on goals, goes right across the goals and over the line and out of bounds. Well, John Dillon, 29-minute mark of the third quarter, and we see Harvey Brunswick 13-12, leading Mines Rovers 7 goals 9.
Well, Peter Petty did say that if Harvey Brunswick Lesnop were in front by about 6 goals at three-quarter time, that was his judgment of it, and he's not far off because that's about the margin, and it's going to be a very big ask of the Miners. Look at that shot on goal up there. there, but the whistle has gone, and we'll see the ball thrown back into play. Some of them Mines Rovers players appear to me to be getting a little bit tired, did they to you, Doctor, when they're working that ball into this very strong breeze?
I think they're just playing the wrong game. They're playing into the hands of Harvey. They're not keeping the ball down enough, kicking against the wind. You've got to keep it low.
Dr. Mania and Peter Betty, you both gave me a mental thrashing when I said Mark Scan wouldn't come back on the ground. He's not even out on the interchange bench. How are we going?
He doesn't need to.
Yes, that's a good comment. He doesn't need to, because they're doing the job well, and they're going to have another opportunity now on that scoreboard side of the ground, because the ball is with the Lions, and they'll have a shot now with Hutchison on that right half forward flank. We saw him turn in a very good game in the second semi, and what an acquisition he's been to this side since he was recruited. Into the edge of the square it goes. The big timber are there. So as we look at that scoreboard for you now on the Abco Hardware scoreboard, that takes the Lions up to 91 points, and they lead the Mines Rovers side who are on 51 points, so that's a 40-point margin, and we're at the 30-minute mark of the third quarter. So as we see, Mines Rovers again a little bit undecided what to do, and they haven't dominated the game. They haven't had anybody that has taken the game by the throat and set the example. Gee, this bloke's taken about 5 minutes to take his kick. Perhaps they're waiting for that clock to tick over. Here it comes out in the Fontana direction. With him is Sloan. Look at the big fellows jostle for it. Comes down to Macri. He's got the pace and the skill to get around into the short opening space there. Austin Oedo on the 50-metre line has taken the mark. They'll pound it back in. 31 minutes gone. Third quarter. It's a big long kick by Austin Oedo. Up to the edge of the square it goes, and it comes off hands and goes through for a point. We'd like to briefly thank our sponsors, Brunswick Liquor and Foodland, Charlie Dacquey's Pasta Ravino. Also tomorrow morning in the news bulletins we'll have a full roundup of today's grand finals in Bunbury Insulation, and thanks to Colin Vickers, Abco Hardware Scoreboard, for sponsoring our scoreboard.
Yes, and I think that what's threatening now is a shower of rain could be coming from the back of us here. John will check that at three-quarter time. The ball's over the line and out of bounds as we're at the 32-minute mark of the third term, and Jeffries has hold of the ball in the right full forward pocket. He elects to drive it inboard. The pack sets up. They go. Bernie Sloan, and he'll be awarded the free kick. No, he wasn't. Umpire Nettleton. Well, gee whiz, I don't know how he picked it out of that one, and if he's made a blue all day, that's probably one of them, because there was a push in the back, was it? Well, there you go. As Barrett takes possession, he'll run it out of defence for the Miners. Up the half forward they go as the siren sounds to win the third term here in the 1991 grand final of the Southwest National Football League. And now this will be very, very interesting to see whether the Miners can get up onto this one here. And they're pointing down to Mark Scan, and you're so right, Dr. Mania, he's back on the ground. Well, that's going to be very, very interesting. But then you're the medico, sir, and I'm just the layman in these things. Scan looks all right too as he comes out, as the score is 13 goals, 14 Harvey Brunswick, leading Mines Rovers 7 goals 9. We'll go back to the studio for a quick message, and it's back for a three-quarter time summary.
And was one that Cognale was another player that got into the game, but I believe Peter Rowe Hutchison going on to Peter Rowe in the centre was a great move, because Peter Rowe only had one kick for the quarter, and not only that, left Graham Jeffries to be a ruck rove, and what a great player he is. I believe at the moment he's the best man on the ground. He wouldn't have to continue to, if he continued to play like he is now, he will end up being the best man on the ground. But wouldn't it be great to see if Mines can just kick a couple of quick goals in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the quarter? There's a great crowd here, everyone get involved in the game, and I can still see us having a big last quarter as long as Mines kick the first couple of goals in the first couple of minutes.
Well, we could do with a close grand final, Peter.
I just make the observation, John, as you normally hate, it must be very cold, and Doctor and Peter, there's not many in the beer tent.
No, it'd be in the breeze if it comes straight in there. They certainly won't get, Dr. Mania, they wouldn't get delirious in the heat over there in the beer tent today, would they?
No, and there's not much here to get excited about it.